GCU Nidoqueen was, for many years, essentially UU's equivalent to Snorlax and OU. Nidoqueen was unquestionably the single best Pokemon in the entire metagame, and something that every single team needed multiple answers to. If you wanted to learn GCU throughout the 2010s, you would repeatedly hear that Nidoqueen was the best, and you should always try to use it. On the first iteration of the GCU viability rankings, Nidoqueen is tiered as S+ in terms of viability, a trait that few Pokemon in any tier ever reach. Nidoqueen was considered almost mandatory for several years. That was how highly people thought of it. Nidoqueen's stats are all around solid for the tier, and it has an amazing move pool. It is a mixed attacker that has no counters, only checks, and it was tough to KO due to Moonlight and its solid bulk. It could be hard to predict Nidoqueen as well. Ground is an incredibly potent type in GCU offensively, with many teams stacking ground weaknesses due to how well Pokemon like Quillfish, Haunter, Nidoqueen and Electabuzz synergize. Access to Thunder also meant that Nidoqueen could hit flying and water types that wouldn't fear Earthquake. It could use a number of moves after the mandatory Earthquake and Thunder. It most commonly used Fire Blast as a third attacking move, since it could 2-KO Pinsir, Piloswine and did more damage than Ice Beam to non-Jumpluff grass types. Ice Beam would destroy Jumpluff and Gligar, and Nidoqueen could use it to fish for freezes. For Nidoqueen's last move, it picked between one of the New York Pokemon Center event moves, with those being Lovely Kiss and Moonlight. Lovely Kiss could shut down Sleep Talkless Pokemon like Scyther and Pinsir, which can be game changing. Moonlight was by far the more common option though, since it let Nidoqueen stick around. It could switch into Pokemon like Haunter, Electabuzz, Lantern and Magneton much easier throughout the course of a longer game. Nidoqueen was unquestionably the best mixed attacker in the tier, having no counters besides Shuckle while being hard to KO. Nidoqueen is also decently fast, outpacing Pokemon like Hypno and Politoed. Nidoqueen defined the important speed tiers in the metagame, and greatly reduced the viability that had a bad matchup against it, with the most famous example being Ampharos. Nidoqueen truly was the face of GCU, and it made the tier its domain. It fit onto every playstyle with little to no drawback to using it. However, around the time of 2019/2020, Nidoqueen started to decline in usage and win rate a small bit. There had been increased awareness of it in the team builder, as Pokemon that could check Nidoqueen, like Blastoise, Hypno and Granbull, had become more popular. Nidoqueen can break through them, sure, but when they are commonly used in the same team, Nidoqueen doesn't have as much opportunity to come in at wall break. Players had just become more aware of Nidoqueen, and some metagame shits hadn't gone in its favour. While Poison and Ground do give Nidoqueen useful defensive qualities, they also give it weaknesses to both Water and Psychic, common attacking types in the tier. Nidoqueen was still generally thought of as the tier's best mon, but it wasn't an absolute anymore. This was around the time Granbull as number 1 became a more popular opinion. Nidoqueen wasn't the sole S rank anymore, both Granbull and Scyther had joined it. This drop was barely anything though, compared to what happened in 2021. In this year, a new ground type emerged to challenge Nidoqueen, and that ground type was Piloswine. Piloswine had been a decent, albeit underexplored Pokemon in GCU before this year, but at this time, people had realised just how good it was. Piloswine has an incredible stab combination, a high attack stat, and switching opportunities on a ton of top Pokemon. Piloswine lacks the Psychic weakness Nidoqueen has, making it far superior against Mr. Mime and Hypno, as well as the Psychic using Electabuzz and Haunter. Piloswine's higher attack stat gives it a better matchup against Granbull and Piloswine, and it just matches up better versus most of the tier, which makes it arguably easier to fit on teams. Compare this to Nidoqueen, who usually only has 1 or 2 Pokemon at most on the opposing team that it can switch into. Sure, Nidoqueen can be more destructive than Piloswine due to its coverage, but Piloswine is just more consistent and easy to use than Nidoqueen these days. Piloswine took GCU by storm and established itself as one of the best Pokemon in the metagame, which resulted in the lowest usage and opinion of Nidoqueen ever seen before. In the most recent GCU team tournaments, Nidoqueen is getting less usage than Pokemon like Pinsir and Quagsire, and there were some weeks in tournaments with no Nidoqueen usage at all. Piloswine, meanwhile, continues to dominate, having a high win rate and being top 5 in usage consistently. Nidoqueen has truly been dethroned these days, with a lot of players not even considering Nidoqueen to be a top 5 Pokemon anymore. It's still really good, but it's a far cry from how dominant it used to be. There might be a boost in Nidoqueen usage nowadays, though, thanks to the recent Agility Pass ban. One of the main reasons Piloswine had been used over Nidoqueen on a lot of teams was a far superior matchup against Agility Pass teams. But this isn't a thing anymore, so maybe Nidoqueen will get a boost. Maybe. Potentially. I don't fucking know. Also, Quagsire kind of gives it competition too. But like, Quagsire isn't that good anymore with Agility Pass gone.